Hey there besties, it's Rosie. What the heck is up? Welcome to my August reset video. I feel like I haven't talked to the camera in so long, which is false. I talked to the camera yesterday. I'm filming a vlog right now and that's gonna be up after this, but like I haven't done like this, like a good little sit down moment in a hot sec. So I'm very excited to be here today. We're gonna recap July. It was a wild month. There was a lot happening in July. And we are going to plan our way to August and figure out, you know, how we're gonna get through this next month. If you're new here, I make lifestyle content, plus size fashion content, book content, and like life vlogs about living in Denver, working from home, hopefully being a grad school student, and, you know, just navigating life as a 25-year-old silly little goose. Let's get our reset on. So naturally, first we have to recap the month of July. Wack. It started off with Kennan's birthday, so that was great fun. His parents, his mom and his stepdad came to visit, and that was a really good weekend, so that was great. And then immediately afterwards, I went to Mexico, which was so wonderful, and I spent a week with my friend Mackenzie, my bestie from college that I haven't seen in so long, and I miss her so much. So it was so great to just spend a week of like literally doing nothing but vibing. It was wonderful, and it was just so good to see her and hang out and have fun. That vlog is coming out soon. I'm working on it. I wasn't able to get it up right afterwards because as soon as I got home from Mexico, your bitch got COVID. So that wasn't very fun. It just wasn't a good time. And I was so deeply in denial about it too. I like refused to accept that I had it, just because I work from home and I traveled in June, and then we were busy the whole 2 weeks I was home in between that trip and then my trip in July. And then I was supposed to be in Utah as I'm speaking to you right now for a work trip. So I was stressed. My brain was everywhere. My body was barely holding on. And I was like, you know what? My body's just giving out on me. Like, I have this headache, but like, other than that, it's okay. And then the headache didn't go away for 3 days. I felt like I had a fever and I couldn't focus on anything. And I was also taking 2 naps a day. So, you know, maybe something might have tipped me off, but I refused to believe I had it for 3 days. And then finally I was like, I guess I'll test. And I tested and I had it. So if you're feeling bad at all, just test. Don't be stubborn like me. Just do it. With that, I was feeling like crap. And I was already behind in work from the trip, and I'm new, so I already am just behind in general. And so I had to take a few days off to like recover and think. And then I was supposed to be in Utah this week for our national sales meeting, and that didn't happen because I'm here, which is for the best. I would not want to be the cause of a super spreader event, even though I have tested negative, so that's great, but I'm staying in my house until the end of the week just to make sure. Having COVID sucked. I got some pretty horrible news while having COVID. A family member of mine is going into hospice, and so I'm preparing myself for that. It's my grandpa, and he actually is in Colorado, just like far away from me, so I'm going to make a trip down to see him. I can't say too much more on that because I will be very sad, but that's happening. And so I was sick, I was sad, I was stressed. So the past 2 weeks have been a little much, and yeah. Anyways, so the end of July kind of just sucked. It was bad. It was a rough one, but it's a fresh month. It's okay. Now that I'm back at work, I do have this extra week to like catch up when I would have once again been not doing real work. I would have been doing like trainings and stuff like that if I was at the sales meeting. So at least I can catch up on everything I've missed over the past few weeks, and, you know, just like really get in the saddle before fall semester starts, because that's when things get crazy. So that's my life and work update, and that's where we're at currently. I am, however, like, now that Utah didn't happen, I'm not planning on going anywhere until Christmas, because normally Kenan and I try to do a trip for our anniversary, but we're moving like 2 weeks before our anniversary this year. So it just doesn't make sense. Like, it's just too stressful. And we need the money for movers. So my next trip, as of right now, is to go back to New York for Christmas. But that affords me the opportunity to, like, you know, settle in, get my shit sorted before we have to move again, and like really get a hang of this new job. So that's what August is gonna be about. That's where we're at. I wanted to go over some quick favorites though before I hop into the goals. Let's get into the favorites. So last month I did a lot of reading while I was in Mexico, which was great. I have been looking for this frickin' book since I heard about it from, when did I hear about it? I feel like I started hearing about it in May, and I wasn't super interested in it, and then everyone started talking about it, and I was like, fine, I have to give it a shot. Fourth Wing, duh. I found it in the airport on the way to Mexico, and I was like, okay, I have to buy it. Because I had checked like 2 or 3 bookstores at that point. I hadn't seen it, so I had to. It's such a long book, which I do like. It's like 500 pages, I think, just about. And it took me a while to get into it, for sure. I was just sort of like, some of the language was very reminiscent of, I don't know, like YA type stuff that, it was just a little bit of a turnoff. But eventually I did get into it, and it's essentially, it's just ACOTAR but with dragons, like specifically for dragons. And the end was very good. So huge ACOTAR vibes. If you're into that, this is for you. And I am excited because the second book is coming out this year too, I think, which is like so fast and rare. So I was like, okay, that's good. I like that. So yeah, if you're looking for a new fantasy series to stick your toes into, this is a good one. And then my second favorite book I don't have because I borrowed it from Mackenzie while we were on vacation, but it's Once More with Feeling by Alyssa Sussman. She also wrote Funny You Should Ask, which I'm currently reading because I liked Once More with Feeling so much. Once More with Feeling was essentially kind of like a version of the Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake, early pop star era. The main girl is like a musical theater nerd. Like, she went to musical theater camp, she wants to be on Broadway. Follows her, Katie, Catherine, her 2 friends from theater camp, one of which is her best friend, one of which is someone she got in a huge scandal with like many years ago that she's pissed at. And it goes about them putting on a Broadway show, and it flashes back to like her career when she was a pop star, and then forward to now her trying to be taken seriously as like a singer and an actress. And it was just so good. It was just chock full of musical theater references. As someone with a theater degree, I felt like it was built specifically for me. Mac also had the special like Barnes & Noble version that included a playlist in the back, and it had so many good like deep cuts for musical theater. It was a theater kid's dream. So if you're into that, give it a read. But if you're not, it might be a little much. Songs. My favorite songs this month. I did not listen to a lot of music. I'm kind of like falling off my podcast like high right now. So I'm starting to pick up my music again, and I think August will be a much bigger month for music for me. But a new song I found was Lunar Eclipse by Fulton Lee, it was just a TikTok song that showed up on my For You page. And it's really good. It's very cute, and I really like his voice. I like his sound and style. So that one's a banger. And then Cruel Summer by Taylor Swift, because God, isn't it? Yeah, that's all I'll say on that. Podcast. My favorite podcast for July was the Haunted Objects podcast. I started it in July. I finished it in July. They don't have that many episodes. They have like 20 something, I think. And you know me, I love a creepy, spooky moment. It's Greg and Dana Newkirk, who are essentially the like millennial version of Ed and Lorraine Warren, except like they're for real. And they're like, yeah, we're not gonna try to like tell people shit's haunted and like get them to do an exorcism or anything like that. They have a haunted objects museum, which is what the podcast is based on. And they just keep all their shit in their house. And they have a Patreon where you can become a museum member, and they do a traveling show where they'll bring around all of their artifacts and explain like how they got them, why they have them. And it's just a bunch of like cool history of paranormal and like strange stuff. So they have like UFO stuff, they have Bigfoot stuff, they have ghosty stuff, they have everything. And so the podcast covers like one item from their collection in each episode, and they then just give like a broad overview of like why in history this would be important, and then the actual story of the object. And as a history nerd and a paranormal, I don't know, lover, I guess, it's just so good. I love it. And I love Greg and Dana. Like they're a married couple, and they're just like really cute, and like they seem very down to earth and chill. Like I would like to hang out with them. So I have become a Patreon member because in conjunction with this, for my favorite shows, Hellier is one of them. And Hellier is a docuseries that Greg and Dana made with these two dudes, Connor, who also is involved in the podcast, and what's his name? Connor and Carl, who are both involved in the podcast as well, but Carl directed this series, Connor was a researcher, and then Greg and Dana were like investigators. And it's just like this fun group of people who are looking into the Kentucky cave system, specifically whether or not there are like goblins in it, which sounds so specific and so random. But it's 2 seasons, and the story's like kind of actually crazy. Like it just goes away from Hellier and like the goblins and just sort of encompasses high strangeness as a total thing. And it loops in Mothman. It like covers their basic theory of like all paranormal stuff is connected, like aliens, I don't know, like cryptids, ghosts and stuff. What if it's all the same thing just being interpreted differently? What if they're all connected? And it sort of studies that, and then also the craziness of synchronicities. Synchronicity is their favorite word. If you hate that word, do not watch the show. They say it 10 times an episode at least. I thought it was cool. They used a lot of like research methods that I haven't really seen, and they approach things so differently from the majority of like paranormal shows on television, like Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters, whatever. I feel like the main idea there is to like be aggressive, taunt something, get proof, and make people scared of it. Whereas Greg and Dana's view is to understand why it's happening and understand like what's going on around it and neutralize it, so that way people can see it as like, you know, a happening of nature or science or something like that, and understand like why it's happening, rather than like immediately instilling fear in something you don't understand. That's a lot about paranormal stuff. I love paranormal stuff, and I really want to do more of it, probably in October, I think. It just like isn't the vibe of this channel, I don't think, but also I'm in charge of this channel, so if I do a fun spooky season, that's my choice. But yes. So Hellier I watched both seasons while I was sick. My other favorite TV show is Yellow Jackets, which is a show that Mel and Jess, my besties, have been trying to get me to watch for a hot second. Specifically Mel, she's obsessed. And I had watched season 1, taken a break, and then when I was sick, I watched all of season 2 in like 2 days. And it's so good. The actors are so good. The story is so interesting, and I just like can't tell what's gonna happen next. And I love it. I love it. It's so good. It's the Sapphic Hannibal, essentially, in vibes, if that makes sense to you. But banger TV show. So if you're looking for something new to watch, that one's also only 2 seasons, and it's fun. Those are all of my favorites. Normally at this point I would go over my goals from July and how I did, but I didn't set goals for July because we didn't do a July reset because life was crazy. So instead we're just setting some new goals for August. So let me tell you about them. Here are our August goals. So I have read 6 books. I read I think 6 books last month, so 6 books, safe bet for this month. And there are a lot of books I want to read. I took a break after vacation because I was a little booked out, but now I'm like, okay, let me get back into it. Pay off 1 credit card. I'm going to be including finances in this video, which I haven't done in a while, because I just need to, I think I'm finally ready to get on track, and I have a plan on how to do it. So we're going to pay off 1 credit card this month. Next, I want to visit 1 new place in Colorado. Now that I'm not planning on going anywhere until the end of the year, I have a lot of like vacation time I can take. So I was thinking I'd like to do 1 long weekend perhaps, Or if not a long weekend, I'd like to drive somewhere, maybe like an hour away, or like, you know, somewhere that I haven't been yet in Colorado, just to explore, especially while I'm up north, because I'm north of Denver right now and we're looking to move south of Denver next. And I'm so close to Boulder that there are so many cute little towns like in the surrounding area that I want to get to. Specifically, I was thinking maybe Golden, because Golden seems like a nice day trip. So I want to go to one new place in Colorado that I haven't been yet. Next, organize my grad school stuff. I've been putting this off. I haven't wanted to think about it. Life has been too nuts. But it is coming up in September, not till the end of September, but still September. And I need to know what I'm doing, if I'm going back, if I am going back, what my plan to tackle the crazy fee that they're trying to charge me is. And I just need a plan. That's all, just a plan. Next, I want to create a morning routine, because now I'm going to be home for like 4 months. I need to do stuff consistently. I feel like I'm so bad at being consistent, and it's very much day to day for me, which is okay, but in order to like get my life on track, I do like having a routine and a set plan to do things. So a morning routine is a good place to start. It's easy. It doesn't have to be too long. I already know kind of what's going to go into it. So I want to make a video about that. And if I do, that's great, because I did it. I want a low spend month. I want to spend less than or about $250 on stuff for me. So like books, clothes, other things. I absolutely do not need more books. I always want more books, but I do not need them. The only thing I did already was the book of the month, but that's free because I have credits on it. I have so many books to catch up on, so many physical books. And I think I mentioned in the last vlog I did, the Barbie video, I bought a Kindle, but it's not going to be here until December or January. So through the end of the year, I'm only doing physical books, baby. I'm getting through them all, and I just really want to get through them. I just want to know that I've read them and I'm only keeping the ones I like. Otherwise, I want to donate or sell, or I don't know, just get rid of the rest of the books that I don't need, because I have so many books. I just have way too many books. I did get another bookshelf, and I am going to be decorating that in the current vlog I'm filming. So if you're interested in that, I'm trying to make it like fun, cute, rainbow aesthetic. So that will also be coming, but I don't have any more room. I have zero more room for more bookshelves. So this is it. Whatever I can fit. And that's it. So best not to bring in more. And going off of that with the low spend, that is going to help me pay off the credit cards. I'm going to start doing the snowball effect. I'll explain that a little more in the finance section. And yeah, so I need to spend less money on like random things that I see I want, I buy. I am an emotional spender, and it is a very emotional time. I even just impulse spent like $200 on the day I found out about my grandpa and I had COVID, and I was upset because I was like, fuck it. But I came to my senses. I immediately canceled the order, and I just got my refund today. So we're working on it. We're working on it. And yeah, I also have a lot of stuff on Afterpay from this summer and my emotional lows. So I really, really need to just, you know, look at all the Afterpays and make sure I'm not spending any more extra money that I don't have. I will talk about the Afterpay stuff in the finance section once again. But these are my goals. I think they are doable. Well, we will definitely be checking back in September, and I will be telling you. Oh my god. September is like, the idea of September is insane. Okay, anyways, let's hop into some finances, shall we? Okay, now we're gonna do some finances. I have a separate notebook that I wrote stuff down in for this one. So I broke down all of my credit cards, how much I have on them, how much my limit is, and the interest rates. And it's a little scary, I'm not gonna lie. So I started talking to my therapist and like looking at stuff online about the different ways you tackle debt. And obviously there's a bunch of different versions. And I think I'm doing the snowball method, where you pay off the smallest first and then you go bigger, and until, you know, you've finally done everything, just to like get some momentum under your belt. That's why one of my goals this month is to pay off one credit card, because the credit card I have the least amount of like money on is $240. I can absolutely put $240 towards a credit card this month, wipe it off the chart, and be good. With that and figuring out the interest rates, that was super helpful actually, because it kind of ended up being where it's like small, medium, medium, big, medium, medium, small. So I'm doing a small one, and then a medium one, and then my biggest one, and then it goes down again from there. I still have 2 cards with 0% interest, which is great, and I have 2 cards that have no money on them at all, which is wonderful. And then my plan is, once I pay off all my debt, I'm going to figure out how to choose which cards to keep and which to cancel, and not like fuck with my credit score, because she's not looking too hot right now. And I'm gonna be honest, writing all this down stressed me the hell out. This job I have is the first job I've ever been in where I could possibly get a bonus. And so at the end of the year, any bonus I happen to get is going to go straight to the credit cards. And the idea of doing lump sums feels so much better to me than just like chipping away at it. So I am going to chip away at it until then, and I hope the chipping away is enough that the lump sum will make a huge difference and will be in a much easier space, like more breathing room, because I need it. But yeah, looking at my expenses versus my income, now that I've been at the job for a couple months, I have a better idea of what my income is with the 401k taken out and all that stuff. And so I was able to plan a bit easier that like rent and utilities will become just 1/3 of what I've got going on. And then from there, I can pay off debt and save. Just so you could see my breakdown was the credit cards, the total, the amount of credit I have on it, and then the interest rates. And then below is my method and which ones I'm going to pay off in what order. Yeah, so, I mean, you don't need to know the exact amount. So like, if you don't pause and read that, I'd like that. But also, I don't have like a sheet to show you, so I want to show you that like what I did. But anyways, yes, so I now have a plan at the very least in order to tackle it. And the first card is going to be easy. Like I said, $240. And then from there, we're in the thousands. So we'll just take it one paycheck at a time, babe. That's all I can do. And I've taken all of my credit cards like out of my wallet. I keep one on me at all times, and that one has like $300 on it and like to spend. $300 left. So I'm not using it willy-nilly. I'm saving it in case there's like an emergency for whatever reason. But I will certainly feel a lot better when some of these are a lot lower and I can, you know, safely keep paying them off, and then like maybe rotate out, oh, I'll use one this month, oh, I'll use one this next month, based on like the credit card rewards and points and stuff. I want to be able to use those, but I'm not even thinking about that until I get these balances way the hell down. I am going to conquer the debt. I will do it. I must do it. I simply have to do it. Having it written down before me was stressful and made me scared, and I did cry a little bit. But now, having it written down and knowing exactly what I'm going to do, now that I'm a couple days removed and a little more mentally sane and physically healthy, I'm happy I did this. And I'm a very competitive person too, so like I kind of want to see how fast I can do it. Yeah, so I think I just have to switch my mindset into like, I'm playing a game with myself. I'm seeing how fast I can accomplish this, because it seems scary and crazy. But if I can get this, I want to see how much I can get it down by the end of the year. And that'll be a good check-in. I'm currently using about 78% of my credit. The recommended amount is 30. So I gotta cut this in half and a little more. I just have to stick to it. And we're working on coping skills that are not emotionally spending money. And I will be nurturing those and fostering them. That's where Afterpay and Klarna are very dangerous, because if I'm in a situation where I'm really like, life sucks, and the only thing I want to do is own nice things, but I can't, I will put it on Afterpay or Klarna, and then I get hit with like 3 or 4 Afterpay charges every single week of varying amounts. And it makes it very hard to plan your finances with that happening. So I'm also going to go into all of the websites again and figure out how much I have left on each one, see if I can like forward pay some of them, because you can like do a payment in advance and then you're good for a little while. That is the finance section. I don't know if you could tell how stressed I am about it, but it'll be okay. It has to be okay. So it will be okay. That is the wrap up of my August reset. I am excited to see what August brings, and I'm also nervous and scared. But a new month is a new month, and I can only control what I know about. So there's no point in stressing about things that you can't do anything about. Simply need to accept, make a plan, move on. That's what we're working on. So if you're new here, once again, thanks for hanging out. I hope you had a good time. If you want to hang out more and talk to me more, I'd like that. We're really close to 400 subscribers actually, which is like very exciting and cool and epic. So if you subscribe, I'd be so grateful, and I would love to, you know, have more people to hang out with and talk to. Yes, and so speaking of chatting, I would love for you to leave a comment down below. Give me one of your goals for August, please. Or if you don't have any goals for August, let me know how your July was. I would love an update. I want to hear what the besties are up to. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a fabulous July, and I hope August is even better. I will talk to you soon. Bye.